What's up, guys? How we doing? How we doing? Hope you guys are doing good today. Honestly, today I just wanted to talk about movies and projects that I'm looking forward to. You know, I'm a huge movie nerd. I think the most common question that I get asked in my Twitch is like, who do I follow subscribers wise on YouTube? And most things that I watch on YouTube have to do with movie reviews or movie news or like interviews of like celebrities, going over their most iconic roles or directors going over their most iconic roles. I love movies. And what sucks is movies have started going downhill, right? Like 5 years ago, I was just not a single movie was coming out that interested me really. I can kind of tell by the trailer if I'm gonna like a movie or not. And I really haven't been excited for a movie since The Substance, which is just my personal opinion. I know there's a lot of movies that have been coming out that other people have enjoyed, but I'm just like super picky when it comes to movies. And well, we got a lot of good shit about to come out, and I just wanted to talk about the upcoming projects. So Superman came out, which I'm really excited for. James Gunn doesn't miss. I'm sure this movie's going to do great. I wish I left up my Superman prediction video. I just figured it was a stupid concept. Nobody's going to want to watch my predictions. They would rather see a review. But I predicted that it would get an 80% critic score and a 90% audience score and $1.5 billion. I was right about the first part. We'll see about the second part. But I think Superman's going to do just fine. I think it's going to be great. Fantastic Four. Looking forward to that. 28 years later. Yeah, 28 days later is my favorite zombie franchise. 28 weeks later, I recently rewatched and was going to do a review on. And 28 weeks later is still good. But I have a lot of complaints with it that actually made me like it less than the first time I watched it. So I do think the first one's better than the second one, although there are some great scenes in the second one. But 28 years later, awesome. I'm so happy we're getting that. It looks like it's been a divisive movie, but I can't wait to see it. Fun fact, John Murphy, who did the score of 28 Days and 28 Weeks Later, did the score of the new Superman movie. In a House and a Heartbeat is basically the theme song of 28 Days Later, the song that plays when shit's going down, and I actually love it. I have it on iTunes. And yeah, he did the score for Superman. I get Final Destination 6 in the mail this week. And then we got Fantastic Four coming out, which very excited for. Galactus is the character I have been most anticipating seeing on the screen. And I'm so happy that we're finally going to get an actual version of him. And I want that $80 ridiculous popcorn bucket. I think the movie's going to do good. I think it'll probably be the best Fantastic Four movie out of all the Fantastic Four movies we've gotten. The only thing I'm concerned about with Fantastic Four is that we kind of know how it's going to end. If they can subvert our expectations on how we think it's going to end, then I think it'll be a more enjoyable movie. But I am excited for this movie. Then, July 30th, we have Together coming out, which, from the commercials, basically looks like a horror movie that two people somehow are combined into one. That's what the premise seems like. And I can't wait. It looks badass. And Neon is starting to be a production company that I'm really paying attention to. And they produce Together, and I can't wait to see that one. And then August 6th or August 12th. No, July 31st, we have Twisted Metal Season 2 coming out. I was a huge Twisted Metal fan as a kid. My favorite was 4. I seem to be in the minority on that one. But it introduced me to Rob Zombie. I loved just shooting cars, listening to Super Beast and Dracula. But anyway, season 1, I liked quite a bit. My only complaint with it really was the humor. Like, if you look at the backstory of all the Twisted Metal games, they're all pretty fucked up. And while I'm happy they went with the rated R, violent, gory, intense route, I wish they would have made it more horror than like a dark comedy. But either way, it ended up being better than I expected it to be. That's just what I personally would prefer, just because that's my favorite genre. But season 2 is supposed to have the actual contest, right? That the game's based on, and it looks exciting. I can't wait. I'm really excited for that to come out. And why have we not gotten a Twisted Metal game? Why? Imagine getting a modern Twisted Metal game where you can play against people online. That would be so dope. I do not understand why that hasn't came out yet. I don't know if there's just not a big enough audience for it or what. Like, if you're under 20, you probably haven't played it. But, it would be so cool to play a modernized Twisted Metal game with better graphics, better weapons, online against people. I think that would be awesome, and they should give that a try, 100%. Maybe season 2, if it gets enough buzz, will lead to that. That would be awesome. And then, so we get that on July 31st, the day after Together comes out. And then August 8th, we get Weapons, which is directed by Zach Greger, who directed Barbarian, and Weapons also looks like it's going to be badass. Can't wait to see that. Honestly, I don't know which one looks better, Together or Weapons. They both look like they're going to be solid movies. I'm going to bet that Weapons will be the better story and a better first-time watch, but Together will be a more rewatchable, enjoyable horror movie. Does that make sense? Like, I bet they'll probably be just as good as each other, but Zach Greger seems to have this style where, with his storytelling, he uncovers, like, knowing the plot ruins the movie, right? Like, he just unpeels layers of the onion to give you a good story, and telling you the story would ruin the movie. And I love that way of storytelling. You don't know what you're walking into, and yeah. But the problem with movies like that is, the greatest time watching it is the first time, and now that you know everything, the rewatch value goes down a little bit. Together, I think, will be a more rewatchable movie. But as far as which one will be better, I have no idea, because they both look fucking awesome. And then August 21st, we get season 2 of Peacemaker. Peacemaker is going to be one of my comfort shows. Peacemaker, Eastbound and Down, and The Righteous Gemstones are my comfort shows right now. And by comfort shows, I mean like shows I put on as background noise when I'm doing the dishes or when I want to fall asleep. Or Peacemaker, I really love. I think it's going to be hard to top because they set the bar so high with the first one, especially with that intro. Like, I know they're going to try to go for another goofy intro, but there's no way you're going to be able to top what they did in the first season. And, if you've seen the commercials, in the commercial, Peacemaker in his dimensional closet, or what the fuck ever it was called, I don't remember, it was quantum... I'm not even gonna try. A dimensional closet, basically. He finds another Peacemaker. And I'm looking forward to seeing how James Gunn incorporates, the story and basically makes this Peacemaker canon to the DCU. Even though I think he already is, because he said that the only thing that wasn't canon in the first season was the Justice League cameo. So we'll see, but I'm really excited for that. And then in September, we get the second season of Gen V, which is setting up season 5 of The Boys. I know it doesn't seem like everybody loved Gen V, and Gen V was, in my opinion, a step down from The Boys, but I still thought it was an enjoyable show. I know a lot of people didn't like season 4 of The Boys, and I do agree that it's their least best season, but it's a setup season for season 5. If they land the plane right, season 5 can be one of the best seasons of television ever. And I'm really looking forward to how Gen V is going to set that up, basically. And yeah, it feels good to be excited about movies and TV shows again, because I haven't been in a long time. You know, like, I don't know, a movie comes out, I see the commercial, I'm like, is it worth it? You know, but we got Sinners this year, we got Final Destination 6, we got 28 Years Later, but you know, Final Destination we haven't gotten a sequel for in a long ass time, 14 years. 28 Years Later has been something I've always wanted to see, and I'm so excited that we're now finally getting that. I wish they would have went with 28 Months Later and then 28 Years Later, because 28 months, so 28 days is a month, obviously. 28 weeks is about 6 months. 28 months would be about 2.5 years, and then we get 28 Years Later. I think they shot themselves in the foot with that one, but still excited to see 28 Years Later. I get Final Destination 6 in the mail in a week. I got the Steelbook. It's my first Steelbook. And honestly, if I can, I want to try to get the Steelbooks for Together and Weapons and 28 Years Later if they come out with them. So, like, the resale value on these things. If you want to collect something, I think Steelbooks, since we're doing away with, like, DVDs and everything's becoming digital and whatnot, I think Steelbooks will be a great collector's item, and I'm just fascinated with them in general, and this will be my first one. So anyway, just wanted to talk about upcoming projects that I was excited about, that maybe you're excited about too. I seems to be a good year for horror. I'm excited that we're getting a good start to the DC. I'm excited to see the Fantastic Four on screen. Twisted Metal, I hope, generates enough buzz to get us a new video game. Super excited for Peacemaker 2. Super excited for the horror movies. And yeah, it feels good to be excited for movies again. Anyway, I love you guys. Thanks for watching.